Derivatives trading involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results.
So stressful when the world's on fire. Good God. I can't look at this, guys. Like, my strategy is you buy it and you hope that you got a good spot. Yeah, but we all think you're crazy. You don't fight this. No way. The markets are freaking out and you don't think that anything is wrong? Come back tomorrow and I'll lose it all. Should be fun. Good morning, everybody. My encoder died there for a second. That's a little concerning. Well, anyways, it is the 19th, and we got some stuff to talk about today, so let's just go right into it. Oh, well, hold on. Let me start up the robot here. Oh, no, wait. I already started it up. Never mind. Okay, cool. So, we started that up. App crashed. Good grief. All right. To the charts. Let's pull up the volume profile. In the 10-year, we finally got the move I was looking for. So to explain, we had this low after, the trade deal was done essentially, and then they kind of came back on us. And since then, it's just kind of been a slow decline back to that area. But the thing that I was really looking for was for the Europeans to sell. Notice that in the overnight action, they've kind of been slow. And this time, they finally sold it. So now we're kind of starting to see the, domino effect, I guess, that we were looking for. European bondholders are realizing that they are screwed and are fleeing. I am hoping, expecting that we can go much deeper. We can go much deeper, and then at that point, we have to go to the daily, and then we start to see this whole, that's probably what we're gonna see. So, meanwhile, equities. Let's clear that out. Equities mostly flat. So yeah. Let's see here. We got. Hold on. A few messages. Good morning, Nicholas. First of all. Oh, I don't have it open. Winston says, good morning. I watched a few traders earlier this morning. Expectations, quietness on the market reports, and high for a Twitter storm this morning. Oh, yes. Okay, so I know what she's referring to. I haven't gotten into that, but we're gonna have to get into that, right? Right? You know what's coming, right? Yes, that's right. Donald Trump was impeached last night. Now, remember, being impeached means that the House of Representatives have voted to impeach, and that there will now be an impeachment trial in the Senate. That's what it means. It doesn't mean that the president is removed from office, at least not yet. The Senate would have to vote with a 60-vote majority to remove him from office. It's kind of a little funny how many people out there in the public don't understand that this is how it works, but I tell you what, man, my Facebook last night was like, there are so many clueless people out there. Oh, man, hold on. Something's wrong. So I'm not getting your messages. Let me restart it. There we go. Let's see here. Harlequin says, seems there was some nice action in bond CL. NGC too slow for me today. Yeah. I was pretty shocked how many leftist idiots I know thought Trump was removed from office last night, right? Like, no, I'm not. Seriously, there was tons of people on my Facebook feed that were like celebrating, he's gone. And I'm like, you guys have no clue what's going on. Like, grown-ass politically active adults who have no idea how impeachment works. There we go. Now I'm getting it. Now, I want her to read that one.
Uzi Knesset says, like, grown-ass politically active adults who have no idea how impeachment works, lol.
Right. Anyways,
Uzi Knesset says it'll make 2020 even sweeter when he's elected again, lol.
yeah, well, I tell you what, man. So here's the next thing that we got to get into. Okay, this is very important to note. Very important note. So there has been a recent development. Nancy Pelosi last night is hinting that she is not going to pass the articles of impeachment onto the Senate. so they're just going to. They had the vote.
Winston's mom says he crossed a line last night during the rally. Ugly,
Well, what
no
did he
excuse.
say?
And Nancy Pelosi is holding the articles of impeachment. I need to learn more about her tactics.
This is the dumbest idea that the Democrats could possibly
Uzi
come up
Knesset
with.
says
I'm
that would
not
be
kidding.
fucking amazing. Harlequin says Jeffrey Epstein will come back from the death. Jesus 2.0. Jeffrey Epstein 2020.
Yes, so I was reading on Reddit last night and going in the Reddit threads, and they were like, oh, this is so great. Now Donald Trump will never get his exoneration. We can just hold it over his head forever and it'll be so great. No, this is the worst thing that the Democrats could do. I'm not joking. So think about this, guys, and I'll try and lay out the political scenario and why I believe that this is a really bad move from Democrats. And I don't know if it really matters to markets, but, you know, it's a pretty important thing that's going on, and we need to try and understand it, all right? So the thing is has impeachment hurt Donald Trump? Has not. He actually has some of the highest approval ratings of his presidency right now. Okay, the impeachment process has helped Donald Trump. Why has the impeachment process helped Donald Trump? Well, one of the reasons is because the process has turned out to be so political. Impeachment is a very serious thing. The framers of the Constitution put it in there as like a last resort. Like this is like you've got to save the country from destruction because the president is so corrupt and awful, and this is just like, it's the end of the world, okay? Think about all of the things that past presidents have done that were maybe not so great, okay? Like bombing Dresden is one that I always go back to. Like, that was a civilian town. They shouldn't have bombed Dresden. That was super ugly. Like that is like possibly in the war crimes field, in my opinion. Did anybody impeach the president over that? No. Okay, so here we're impeaching the president over a phone call, asking somebody to investigate a criminal activity. Essentially, he asked the president of Ukraine to investigate suspected criminal activity. Now, maybe he did it. We can't read his mind, but maybe he only did it because he thought it would hurt Joe Biden. It doesn't matter. Like, it's okay to ask a foreign government to look into something. It just, I'm sorry, but it is. And to impeach the president over something like that, this is the way that the Donald Trump supporters, and apparently the majority of moderates, see it, is that they're just trying to hurt the president, that they're just going after the president, and that this is a political thing. So, how could you make things look any more political than the investigation that they had already has? See, Democrats made a big mistake by not letting the Republicans fight back during the House hearings. Okay, when they were doing the investigation and they were interviewing people and stuff, the Republicans weren't allowed to call their own witnesses, weren't allowed to do anything to fight back. Democrats should have allowed it, because at least then it would have appeared fair, and it would not have appeared to be such a political thing, right? There would have been, hey, we're trying to be fair and just enforce the law or something like that. But instead, they turned it into an us versus them sort of a thing, and all of the moderates see that, and they go, oh, well, this is just nonsense DC politics as usual, and I don't want to have anything to do with the people that are engaging in those politics. So, how do you make this process appear any more political than it already is? By basically changing the process, okay? So, like, Mitch McConnell in the Senate has been saying, well, we have to set out rules for how the impeachment is going to go. I say that we use the same rules that they used when they impeached President Clinton. That's his position right now. And Nancy is saying, well, unless we like the rules that the Senate is going to pass, we're not going to pass on the articles of impeachment. What does that sound like to you? Political games. And the longer it goes on, the more it will hurt Democrats, because Democrats will be seen as playing a political game. And not only that, but again, impeachment has helped Donald Trump. If I was a Democrat, I would be trying to get this done with. I would want this, pass them on, have the Senate trial, get him dismissed, and have all of this done before Christmas. That would be the best scenario for Democrats. Seriously, because this has hurt them so much. But instead, now they're saying they're going to extend it? Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Worst thing that Democrats could possibly do. That's the way that I see it. And that's the way that I would probably analyze it. In terms of how this might affect markets, I don't know. I mean, the thing is if it extends, the markets might be in limbo. I don't think that anybody thinks he's going to get impeached or anything like that. But when there's such a big news story looming over you, people have a really hard time focusing on anything else. So that might be one impact on the markets. But, I don't know. So that's how I see it. We'll see.
Uzi Knesset says a lot of Democrats who lucked out in 2018 in Trump districts risked everything last night. Winston Zamam says speculator Seth, why doesn't the president let Mulvaney or Bolton speak? They were on the phone call?
Why does he have to?
Winston Zamam says I am buffering a bit and everyone please hit despite your politics, lol. Harlequin says how did the markets react when Clinton got removed from office?
Well,
Lucas says morning.
My recollection was that I wasn't watching markets back then, but from what I've heard, we're getting the news here, by the way, hold on. So we're getting the unemployment claims here, right? And current account, let's look. There's a lot of iceberging before that news. Okay, current account was negative 124 versus 122. That'd probably move us up a little bit. Jobless claims slightly higher than expected at 234 versus 255. Canadian wholesale sales negative 1.1. Oh, and Philly Fed manufacturing index. That's an important number. Maybe that must have been bad. That must be why we're moving up. Oh, come on. Uzi says, yeah, the buffering stuff is happening again. Man, I don't know what's going on. I'm wondering if my video card is having... I mean, I'm getting a few skipped frames. Got skipped frames at the beginning, at least. But, yeah. But it could also... Oh, yeah. So Philly Fed was spot 3 versus 8 spot 1. So that's going to hurt a little bit. Dun, 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 dun. Okay, so the E-mini moves down quite a bit off of that. Okay, we're going to have to monitor this. I don't know if I want to trade this area. I would maybe, if it wasn't for the bad news, I would maybe be fading 0.5. I mean, that's a pretty good iceberg there. But I think instead I will wait for an inside bar. All right.
Winston Zamam says I honestly do not remember the markets going up or down during the Clinton trials, pun intended. We were invested but not at our peak years quite yet.
Yeah, so my recollection from what people have told me is that they kind of just sat around, and then when he was acquitted, the markets moved up. I think.
Air Cages says hello. My BTC long is looking good. Christmas is not cancelled. Harlequin says DDoS by the LGBTQ community for making fun of them. Air Cages says I repeat. Christmas is not cancelled. Uzi Knesset says all week in ZB big bids have been holding firm waiting for the market to drift into them.
Yeah.
Winston Zamam says Christmas is not cancelled, darn. Santa and I had plans for a beach vacation minus the elves.
Oh man, you were profiting off of Air Cage's misfortune? Shame on you. Oh man. You know what? Well, so the question is, did you use that to get out? Or are you still in it? I don't know. That was a pretty aggressive up move, wasn't it? But kind of looks manipulated to me. Again, I mean, as always, but everything over there is manipulated, isn't it? Right? Okay, so there was some questions that we needed to respond to here. Okay, yeah, so why doesn't the president let Mulvaney or Bolton speak? Why should he? Listen, I mean, that's just trial, right? You don't want anybody from the administration to speak, not because you think that they have something awful to say, but it's just a risk, right? So if you can avoid doing it, then why not just avoid taking the risk altogether? It's a smart move to not let them speak. I don't think I mean, who knows what Bolton would say? The Democrats never had him come and speak, which says to me that Bolton would actually probably trash Democrats. I think, but I can't read his mind. And who's the other guy? Mulvaney. Oh, Mulvaney is the. Sorry, I forget who he is. Let me refresh. Mulvaney. Nick Mulvaney. He was the director of office management and budget. Oh, I mean, I guess he was there for the call. I don't understand what insight he would provide, but. Anyway, oh yeah, he is writing a book. So I guess we'll see. I'm sure that he's going to criticize Donald Trump to some extent, but he's a team player. I mean, I would be really surprised to see him, like, do anything. Okay, so why are we moving so much? I think that what's happening is everybody's going short and you're getting a stop run from those shorts. I would like to see my indicator really really overextend here. I am not so sure that we've gotten that yet. So let's just wait, that we might get a good fade here. Okay, so anyways, I mean, I would avoid, if I was them, I would be trying to avoid anybody from testifying that I would want to. But that's kind of the interesting thing. So remember how this all got set up, right? They wanted to force these people to testify in the House hearings. Donald Trump basically refused. And the whole question is, were they in official impeachment proceedings? And the Supreme Court has pretty much held that, if you compel somebody to testify during the trials, then that definitely would not, they would definitely rule against the president in that particular case. But in the House hearings, there was this fuzzy area where, were they even in House hearings? Remember that whole thing? And then they kind of voted on it, but took them forever. And then there was still question over whether it was an official impeachment proceeding and all that. And so Democrats decided not to push the issue to the Supreme Court because they just figured, well, that would just be like a segue and it would bog us down. And so they didn't want to do it. Now that it's going to go to the Senate, they could have that battle, but they're not sure if the Senate will vote to compel them to testify. And that's the issue. See, the rules that Mitch McConnell wants to have is going to be that they have the base ground rules, and then if they want to compel anybody to testify, there's going to be a vote on it. And the Democrats don't think that they will win that vote. I don't know if it would go that way or not. I mean, you'd only have to get like 3-4 Republicans to cross over, and that might happen if they say, well, in in an effort to have transparency, we think that it's best that they do testify. That could happen. But Democrats aren't sure. So instead, they're trying to, somehow politically force their way into making it happen. And they seem to think that this is definitely a good piece of ammo that they can use against the president to make it seem like he's trying to hide something. So I can see why they pursue it. But withholding articles of impeachment is a really poor way of doing it. It's a really poor way of doing it. And I suspect that Nancy is all bluster on this. I don't think she's actually going to do it. If she did it, I would give it a week before she give in. I'm not kidding, because it's not going to look good. Because it's just too much of a deviation from the process, essentially. Like people have an expectation now. You impeach, and then it goes to the Senate, and you have a trial, and then everybody knows that he's going to get acquitted at that point. Okay, and if the Democrats disappoint on that point, it's going to hurt them, because you're destroying people's expectations, and that will make people think that there's something unfair about the way that the process is going, because you're not using the process that they're supposed to, right?
Harlequin says, man, when crude oil has a smaller range than ZN, something must be wrong, lol.
Wow, is it really that
Air
tight?
Cages says, I actually got out a little bit above break even. This is a gift from the gods. Winstanza Mom says you can read his book soon enough. Harlequin says gold is moving after the news.
We got a real stop run there. I mean, so here's the thing. The Philly Fed number was really bad.
Winstanza Mom says Fed calendar today, 9:45 a.m. CP, commercial paper 4:15 p.m. H.15 selected interest rates 4:30 p.m. H.3 aggregate reserves of depository institutions and
This one appeared at first glance to be a good fade, but then they slowed down and they're still pushing. I think that you're going to start to get people, a lot of people reversing, especially now that they're above 04. I could potentially buy 04 if I got a valid signal. I'm just noticing though that like the flow is like almost only one way. They're all buying, and there's tons of absorption on the sell side, and there's almost no selling. And when there is selling, it's not, like I would expect to see some sort of reloading there of people getting in to push it higher. Not seeing that. It kind of makes me feel that if they're squeezing, if it ends up being a squeeze, that there's more. Or that, I don't know, maybe more people could be jumping on this. The E-mini doesn't look particularly strong. The trade might be to wait to the top of the hour and short the E-mini. That's really weird.
Harlequin says we had a whole 23 ticks range in crude. After fake of the low, we have magnificent 25 ticks from high to low of the day. I want last Christmas back, lol. So much more action.
I don't know if we'll ever see Last Christmas again. That was incredibly unusual action. The Federal Reserve made a big mistake, and the markets were in a weak position, and there was individuals that had high interest in manipulating the markets, and they used the low liquidity time period to take advantage of it. And I don't think that they'll ever do something like that again. I'd be really surprised if we saw that this year. But yeah. I mean, here's the thing. We were pretty slow, but down all through the week in Treasuries, right? And then Wednesday, we finally had kind of like they kind of give it up, right? And then last night, the Europeans gave in, okay? So when I see that, I think, okay, at the very least, we might have a pullback, or we could have two-way action, that sort of a thing. Because a certain number of sellers have been washed out, right? All of those longs holding, they had to sell. And now that they're washed out, now you could potentially have people go other directions. But now we're getting this big move up. You've got to wonder, okay, so it was slow, and then there was Wednesday, which tends to be a big day. Then we have today and tomorrow. Is there any news tomorrow? I think that there is, right? Core retail, final GDP. Okay, so we have final GDP tomorrow. And then we got the Christmas week. And I suspect that nobody wants to have a ton of money in the markets at that time. So, you know, you would maybe be seeing people trying to take off positions. So that could be maybe part of what we're seeing is some really big long-term positions getting taken off. But this is really crazy up action. Air cages.
Air Cages says honestly, if it wasn't for your advice I would have gotten out with big losses. You saved Xmas Seth. Joy to the world, the Lord is come, let earth receive her king, let every heart prepare him room.
So what? Because I was so negative, you said, well, maybe it's going to come back then? I don't know, man. This is interesting, the way that it worked out.
IQ says where will ZB stop on the upside?
I don't know. I'm kind of wondering now, when we look at all of our other stuff, where are we? Where are we in relation
Winstan's
to
mom says has offer speculators its advice and for Air Cages compliments and wins. Merry Christmas. Uzi Knesset says target at 0405.
Okay.
Uzi Knesset says 560405. Harlequin says so the market moved because of this Philly index? Is it that important?
Well, probably. Well, I don't think that the Philly Fed is typically that strong of a number, but it comes to this. So when you look at the thing, the number, and like it's 0.3, and when was this one? When was this negative one? Was in February. Okay, yeah, I remember that. So we've had February and June, and now here in December again, we saw some manufacturing weakness. And the whole thing is that we kind of thought that the manufacturing weakness was done and we didn't have to worry about it. So I think that that's why they're freaking out. But I think that the strength of the move, I don't think that normally we would be moving this strong, except for that we just come off of such
a Philly cheesecake sandwich would be really good right now. Thanks, Harlequin. I am now wandering into my kitchen.
If it hadn't have been that we'd had such a strong down move all this week, then we would not have come back that strongly. Okay, so now I am starting to see backflow. And there was a relatively high amount of excitement there. And there's a stack at 05. When did that 05 cut get there, though? 05 was actually bigger than that at one point. We're back to where OTF would sell.
Uzi Knesset says got a clog now at 55.30 to 56.01. Uzi Knesset says 200 mega amperes on 5 meters. Harlequin says got 10 ticks in CL and I am out. Honestly, it's so slow, gonna be happy with what I got. Maybe it's open in 15 minutes will bring in some volatility. Last year crude was really crazy, even during Christmas.
This action looks a little sketchy. So you had an iceberg at 05. Was it 05? Then they're hitting into 05 half. There's a 5K iceberg there, and there's a 6K iceberg on 05. This isn't the top. Because at the very least, this is a high amount of distribution. At the very least, we're going to get something like that. You know?
Air Cages says just based on TA and my BTC backtest told me that a bounce was imminent. I just got in at the wrong time unfortunately. Winstanzamom says everyone please take a quick second and hit like, this will help the channel numbers and your elf on the shelf will report you were good.
Your elf on the shelf will report you were good. Cool. That's interesting that it's showing us down. The down 2 ticks ends up being.
RFO Trader says I am short 5.50 ready to scratch if required.
128, 5.5
says 55, 24 to 25 possible target for a pullback.
Well, I mean, it looks like a good. So far, it looks like a solid pullback, but I'm still really skeptical about it, to be honest, guys. Like they of course they overcame the seller and everything, but
RFO Trader says why.
That whole thing looked like trickery, you know. I think that you're gonna have a range between here and probably maybe even 07. That would make a little bit more sense to me because then.
Winstanzamom says just a note for the chat room on YouTube. Live chat will allow all comments. Top chat will drop naughty words and some comments.
Oh, is that how it works? It drops naughty words. Oh, get rid of all. I got a bunch of tabs on here that I don't need. I don't need that either. Oh, Jigsaw's having a webinar on Saturday. That sounds like it's his usual do something for 2 weeks and.
RFO Trader says I usually scalp 3 to 4 ticks in these ranges.
Oh, okay. Well, that makes a little bit more sense, RFO, because then, well, did you already take it off at 04 then? I'm just thinking back, like, when this happens, right? And I'm not very good at doing this, but, you know, last time I did this, what happened? You know?
And Air Cages says this might sound really crazy, but I believe BTC could pop to 10K by the end of this year.
Really? Well, I mean, this is the thing: is Bitcoin could probably do anything that it wants. It's just a question of
RFO Trader says looking for 3.50.
Okay. So you're looking
Uzi
for
Knesset says BTC will be 300K by mid 2020.
Yeah. It's still overbought. How much is it overbought by? Let me see. Dun, 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 dun.
Uzi Knesset says lol your reaction though grinning squinting face.
Like, the thing is it's not like it's unbelievable to me. Okay. So we are at 120. with the upper range being 11,733 and the lower range being not 29,30.
Harlequin says BTC will be the next president of the United States and will get assassinated by Garlicoin.
It's just, like, to me, anytime that it gets pumped up like this, I'm thinking
Uzi Knesset says grinning, squinting face.
They're just printing money and pumping it up. I don't think that any of this movement is coming from real people buying. Where's the money coming from? So it's not coming from retail people. Nobody's using it. It's not coming from people that actually use Bitcoin.
Winstanzamom says air cages, have you ever taken an MBTI type test? Predictions are a form of intuition and that would give you NE as a cognitive function.
Like, one of the things that I notice is that every time that it does this, right? So here they were at 10K, right? And then they pumped it up and they barely even got to 8. And now they're popping it up again and they barely got to 7.5. It looks to me like they are pumping it, and for some reason they're getting further and further every time. Well, not further and further. They're falling short every time.
Air Cages says, I know it sounds a bit far-fetched. 0.13 days to go. Let's see if 10K plays out.
The other thing is I mean, normally there's the tax selling, right? In fact, I'm surprised that they're not.
Uzi Knesset says, I knew that bid at 55.26 was gonna chicken out, lol.
The bid at 26 chickened out? Oh, you're right. I don't know, though. Our RFO here doesn't get filled at 03.5, did he? Only 68 hit it. Anyways, I was saying earlier, I didn't finish a thought. Thinking about what would happen last time I did this. Well, either I would sell at 05.5 and immediately get run over, and that would be the range. And then I would say, oh, that's the range. I actually want to sell here. And then they would go over me there too. Or I'd catch it. They'd go down like 3 ticks. And then I think, oh yeah, this is going to come back really strong. And then maybe I decide to take a profit and they come back on me.
I'll have to look into MBTI. Thanks. Uzi Knesset says there was a 400 plus there. I thought about leaning on it for a continuation up, but I was thinking, that guy's gonna chicken out, lol.
Well, there's definitely been some interesting behavior lately with those big orders on the edges, right? Like there was one up here on the offer in the 10-year, but they ate into it, right? They went into it. It's not there anymore. What about the 5-year? Well, that's kind of interesting. And what about the E-mini? The E-mini hasn't recovered at all.
RFO Trader says currently B.
You're at break even now? Oh, really? Did you get 4.5? Yeah. Happens. I don't know, man. I've kind of been working on a little bit of a theory here. Not a theory, but like a framework, right? So like the framework that I'm trying to go from here is something like I'll minimize the E-minis, okay? You have a move, and then you go here, and then you balance out, okay? So when we're looking at like auction, they'll bid higher until everybody's auctioned out, right? And usually you'll have a peak here or something like that. Right? I think we're all kind of familiar with that. But I mean, it gets a lot more complicated than that, right? Because then you can go back down, or you can go higher. And which one do you know? Which way is it going to go? And I've always had a hard time determining where that spot is. And so I say that I'm only trying to catch this. And then when you get up here, there's going to be some distribution. And whether it goes up or down from there, I don't necessarily care. So I'm kind of thinking right now, that was the impulse move. The opportunity is less. Now you're getting into the period where they fight over it. They fight over it, and that's hard for me to make money in. But the big but here is that it's only like 6:58 my time.
RFO trader says I'm out.
Okay. So you took a little bit on it. Oh, I hope I didn't like affect you there. I was just thinking about with my own
says
self,
Air
like,
Cages you can take the tests online, free. MBTI was designed for business. It's interesting especially if you are an intuitive because we think in a different learning style.
So I think you're looking like, okay, here's the range. I'll go from here to here. My question for you is, why go short up here instead of waiting for it to come down here and go long?
It says here's our pullback zone in ZB. Let's see if she holds thinking face hugging face.
Yeah. How many ticks back was it?
RFO trader says I got the 4 ticks I was after hash.
6 tick pullback. Oh, you got 4. All right. Yeah, but why did you want to get 4 going short instead of 4 going long? Like realistically, I could take your exit and go long there, right? And go long 03.5 and hope that they go back up to 05.5.
RFO trader says short to get long if of permits.
Because I always kind of go like, well, if I think the top side is going to break, then I want to get long down here. And if I think the bottom side is going to break, then I want to get short up here. Do we know which one it's actually going to do? I don't know. They sure come back pretty deep so far. Like it's moving quite healthy. Interesting. Oh, what, the 5-year? Got shoved down there hard. A pretty big iceberg there. Yeah, we're okay. Okay, well, I'm going to try playing the other side of the range, all right?
Air Cages says Winston's mom what kind of learning style? Uzi Knesset says negotiating, 55-27 and 55-24. Which bro will blink?
Yeah. I mean, the thing is that in the larger time frame, I do think that it's probably a fate.
IQ says 27. Uzi Knesset says looks like it at IQ grinning face with big eyes.
Okay. There's a tick. I've been noticing that they've been getting like there will be icebergs going the wrong way on the outsides and then they fade those. I think my thing is slowing down again. I play both ends of the small ranges, 3 to 4 ticks against momentum, looking to let run with momentum. Right. Well, I have a big
Uzi Knesset says homeboy hanging out at 56.05. Seems confident the market will come to him.
Really? Oh, you're right. Well, I know what Uzi is thinking, right? Uzi's thinking, if I can try and explain here, and he can correct me if I'm wrong, but the opening range was 04. There's somebody sitting at 0506. They'll come up and test the opening range
Uzi
and then fall
Knesset
back.
says, well, he seems confident, lol.
That seems to be the move that you'd be looking for. And it does tend to be the way that it tends to go, isn't it? Okay, well, we've formed an inside bar. I got a good price within the inside bar. So, if I get that, I should take it off. Even though I think there's a chance that they extend. I sold a low pretty aggressively. No one joined in puked quick, but not a great feeling. It's traded really badly this morning, in my opinion, given the level it broke. Yes, it doesn't feel great. Had the morning spot on while location was poor, and being able to stomach the trade is something really need to get comfortable with.
Uzi Knesset says there's still the technical aspect of the 200 mega amperes on the 5 meters, but I don't put too much stock in that.
Mega amperes.
Uzi Knesset says, and that's at 55.31.
Okay, well, the E-mini had an inside bar and they broke above it. So there's that. Why are we getting so light here? We getting this again. Donald Trump is retweeting. Impeachment is now officially meaningless. President should hold his head high, knowing that a group of liars, frauds, charlatans, police, state supporters, and swamp rats didn't approve of his success. The Democrats are a joke. Everything they touch, they destroy. Dan Bogino. Donald Trump retweeting.
RFO Trader says I'm holding out for 1.52s here.
Well, okay, so now they take down the liquidity looks a little better. Still don't quite understand what's going on here.
Air Cages says what happened to Trump? Did he get fired?
No. They impeached him, but
Uzi Knesset says if that 24 breaks to the downside, the continuation is in trouble. Disappointed face.
Well, at the moment, the 5-year is kind of, they're saying, well, maybe we couldn't get any higher. Maybe we test the other way. I don't know, though. In this kind of range, though, it kind of turns around kind of randomly, doesn't it? Donald Trump retweets that Joey Saladino. The Democrats impeached Trump for crimes committed by Joe Biden. Honestly, I am impressed. Are they afraid that Donald Trump is going to say something crazy or something? Yeah, and then they stack on the 04. I haven't seen any clicks, but
Uzi Knesset says good lord, even Trump needs to stay away from Joey Salads. That guy's like 10 tiers below Trump in terms of demeanor. Lol.
I've never heard of that guy before. I've never heard of him before. Who is he? Okay, the 5-year ticked up, finally. Nobody hit into 05. 10.5 rather. Where do I get 05 from? Hmm.
Uzi Knesset says he was a YouTuber who used to do fake pranks back when fake prank channels were big a few years ago.
7 minutes, all right.
Uzi Knesset says big smelly piece of garbage.
All right. So now it's equal. And then they bid up again in the 5-year, but weak bid. Nobody hitting 10.5. Nope. Okay. That one might be better. Okay, now they hit 10.5. Graham says Pelosi withholding impeachment articles would amount to constitutional extortion. The whole thing is dumb. I'm telling you, it's a bad idea. Like, the thing is when she said it, I was just like, oh, let's just bluster. But Democrats like it so much now, I'm thinking maybe she goes through with it. Yeah, that 10.5 is having issues. And when the 5-year gets like that, it's really hard to know what it's going to do, you know? Well, there's a little bit of a stack at 10.25, and then they pulled it. What the heck?
Ace Trades says morning.
Ah. What's this? Good morning, Ace.
Uzi Knesset says morning at ACE Trades. Ace Trades says short signal 3196.50.
Okay. I'm watching the bond here, and the 5-year is kind of like in a random zone. It's been 10 minutes. So at the very least, I'll move that up. I'm interested in Ace's short here. Yeah, okay. That's not necessarily positive towards a short in the E-mini. And there was a click on it too. 03 half pulled. So try and get that out of break even. Cool. Let me out. Maybe now they'll push up without me. Oh, because that was 03 half, right? Wait. Yes. Oh my gosh.
Ace Trades says it UZI Knesset morning you.
Hmm. Okay, I'm gonna try it. Click. Looks to me like they did exactly. They just scared me out, and now they're going to push up again. Pretty crazy how that works. Okay. And the E-mini moves up on that. Hmm. And the Treasury drops back down to 0.3 really quickly. I think I did the right thing.
Ace Trade says, I hope you didn't get filled. Looks like it's going higher.
I was just about to say, I was like, this doesn't look super great, does it?
Uzi Knesset says 24 bid in ZB.
Yeah, we're back to that number there, huh? Well, he was big for a second, but he's kind of backed off a little bit.
Uzi Knesset says he's shrinking.
Yeah. I mean, for a second there, it started to look really positive, like, oh, I shouldn't have gotten out. And then they immediately came back, and now they're pushing 0.3. So that kind of suggests that the sellers in the treasuries have a lot more control than we
Eric
thought.
Cages says, is it true that you never really live with Top Step Trader? I heard they're actually giving you a SIM account disguised as a real account once you get funded.
I've had people tell me that you have to trade for a while on a SIM account even once you get funded. I don't remember. I don't have the source for that anymore, though. It's hidden in one of my private messages from way back, and I don't know who it was that told me that. Or rather, why I remember hearing that, but. Okay.
Eric Cages says sounds like a Ponzi.
Now the treasury's going back up.
Harlequin says got out +3 and gold didn't like my entry.
Hmm. The cumulative delta in the E-mini is extremely difficult to read at the moment. There was a sell up here. We're higher.
Eric Cages says so they're not actually really risking anything. They just pay you from the Combine Fund if you decide to cash out some profits. How lame.
That's the accusation. I can't verify that. We should read around and see. Maybe there was somebody on Futures.io or somewhere like that posted their experience and verified that. Interesting that the micro is going back and forth there, even though the E-mini is not even close. Well, now it goes, but the micro did it first. I don't know. Like, I am gonna make another video about it. I should research that, but from my perspective, now that there's micro futures, there's no reason to do combines. You want to lose money, just do it live on the market.
Harlequin says got a friend who did the one-up combine a short time ago and he showed me that for now his fills are in sim. He got a $1,000 payout so far and just took 1 to 2 days. Maybe they will want to wait before live.
That was one up. If you can verify that with a first-hand account for me, I would appreciate it. Like maybe you have a screenshot from him saying that, or he has screenshots proving that they're have him on sim for now or something like that. Hey, look, maybe the long was good. You just like had to wait way too long. I stayed in that for 10 minutes and then I got out at break even. So okay. Interesting. Oh, yeah. So something about impeachment that I forgot to mention was that Tulsi Gabbard voted present. Can you believe that? I was shocked. I tell you, shocked. Why she would do that. Like, it's not going to hurt. That's not going to help your presidential campaign, hon. I mean, you're not going to win your presidential campaign anyways.
Harlequin says you mean screenshot regarding that it is sim? Well, he showed me life moving around the order and seeing if the DOM updates.
So make a recording of it and show me. Or, you know, like the thing is I want to make another video about the combine. And if I'm going to come in and say that, like, I have to be able to verify that it's true.
IQ says so you long from 24 Uzi?
So something that I can show in the video that would say they passed it and they're not live. They seem to be reacting to that uptick at 04.5. Notice
Jack
how
of
all
all says yes, all TST, 1-up and earn 2 trade make traders trade sim and pay real money if they profit. Only when traders show consistency, they fund with real money.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I've been told, but where, like, do they tell you that in an email, or, you know, how do you prove to people
Uzi
that
Knesset
that's
says
what
at
happens?
IQ it wouldn't be a bad attempt, but no, I'm waiting for a short.
I don't know, because I don't think that there's anything in there.
Uzi Knesset says I may get it, I may not lol.
I don't think there's anything in their combine rules that's, you know, or the legal statements that say that that's what happens. Pierce Brosnan praises Trump. Pierce Brosnan looks a little fat. He looks like Santa Claus now, man. Pierce, you should do a Santa Claus movie. You look great for it. I like him. He was good
IQ
as Bond.
says what area from? Uzi.
Now they're hitting into 04 half again.
Uzi Knesset says up there at 0405. Winstanzamam says there was only one Bond for me, shaken not stirred Sean Connery. Pierce is too pretty.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so have you guys seen the movie Knives Out yet? It's a good movie. And
Uzi Knesset says I'm hoping I don't get sucked into a FOMO after the equity open lol.
I think that we need to get out, by the way. Because we got like 7 minutes to the open. We don't want to mess with that. Yeah, so the guy that's the new Bond, what is his name? I don't even remember what his name is. But anyways, he plays the role of the private investigator, main character kind of guy in Knives Out. And he has a southern drawl. And it is really weird. Because you're used to hearing him with the British accent, and all of a sudden he has this southern drawl, and it's like a completely different character, and you're like, wow, he's a better actor than I thought he was.
Ace Trade says Daniel Craig.
Daniel Craig, that's right. Daniel Craig has a southern drawl in Knives Out. It was a good movie, though. I liked it. I liked it a lot. It's like when I saw that, I was like, oh, now that he's not Bond, maybe he'll do other good movies, kind of like Sean Connery did. Yeah. Oh, as Sean Connery hasn't been in a movie in a while, has he? I'm thinking back here. Should I have gotten
Winstanzamam says
25?
we'll look for the movie. When renowned crime novelist Harlan Thrombey dies just after his 85th birthday, the inquisitive and debonair detective Benoit Blanc arrives at his estate to investigate.
Yep, that's it. That's it. It's a good murder mystery movie, and it's got a number of good actors in it. But it's just really well written. They keep you engaged through the whole. You ever watch those movies where it's like you watch the movie and you feel like you've been watching it for like 6 hours and it's only a 90-minute movie? It was like that. It felt like a long movie because every moment was engaging and kept you guessing and wanting to know what was going on. Why do I always choke myself on water? What do I do? My parents went wrong sometime in my childhood and taught me to drink water the wrong way, guys. Man. Yeah, I don't know if I would have gotten 25. -3 is what we want.
Uzi Knesset says you have to learn to breathe and drink separately lol.
Right?
Winstanzamam says for Christmas one year, our son gave us all of the Bond movies dating back to the first. We watched them for days and they were so retro and fun. Certainly sexist and dated but tons of fun. Air Cages says wait, what are we talking about?
Well, we're talking about me choking on the water and we're talking about James Bond. I have a tendency to choke on water for some reason. It's like I'll be drinking and I don't breathe it in, but like I let it go back a little bit too far. I feel better now. Well, I tell you what, the Bonds are in a crazy range here. If they break 03, I would want to just hit right into that. Maybe they will. Maybe the E-mini is going to buy on the open. And I don't know. But our little E-mini trade, it just didn't work out this time. That's okay. We didn't lose very much on it either. Andy Besder, with the House Dems preparing a partisan vote to impeach Donald Trump, the RCP average of polls shows a drop in support and surge in opposition over the past week. The more people hear about what the Dems are doing, the less they like it. This will matter. Yeah. That's actually a really strong surge, and no, they shouldn't impeach him. Down ticket 04 again. If it wasn't so close to the E-mini, I'd be tempted to just sell it right there, but Democrat Rep. Jeff Van Drew has informed staff he is switching parties and will become a Republican. Isn't he the guy that voted no the first time? So there was one person that voted no, and like he didn't want to do the investigation to begin with, and now he's saying no to impeachment. But then there was the lady that she voted no on one article and yes on the other. She said, yes, he did abuse power, but he didn't obstruct Congress, is what she said. And you can see 03 half getting weak, but that 04 half never stacked.
Harlequin says asked him and he sent me this.
Asked him. Can you post the link in... Oh, wait. He sent it to me in Discord. Okay, here's the
Harlequin says regarding the one-up thing.
Gotcha.
Ace Trades says at Winstanzama morning.
It's kind of hard to see. Let me open
Harlequin says posted on Discord.
Yeah, okay. Open original. Open original.
Uzi Knesset says oh wow. Harlequin says you can see him moving the order around.
$192. Oh, I can see. He's
Harlequin
moving
says,
around
yeah,
and
it's
it's not changing it at all.
Uzi Knesset says big guy plowing in on ZB.
He moves the order around and it's not giving him. It's not changing the level to it all. It's still 8. 193. You can see it's 2. It's 2. When he moves
Uzi Knesset says there she blows.
Wow.
Harlequin says he is only funded for 3 to 4 weeks though.
Gotcha. So that was where we'd want to sell it. For sure. Now, what about the E-mini? The E-mini, I think we wait, right? But maybe we could buy the E-mini somewhere.
Uzi Knesset says I avoided FOMOing into that lol.
Yeah. Well, I said if they break 03, right? It would have been better to have taken 03.
Harlequin says and if you post a video don't use his screenshots please.
I gotcha. Well, so then I just have to say I've been shown by people. But that's one up. Now, I wonder if we can find one for Top Step. Like 20 seems tempting. Help me out here, Ace. I want to FOMO in so bad. Nah.
Uzi Knesset says that could have been a shaky shake. Scare some longs.
Maybe. I think that they did it because of the way that the E-mini opened.
Ace Trade says feel free. It's just money.
It's just money. You're not helping. Like maybe here. Oh, it's actually at 50.
Ace Trade says I broke a rule and got in long at 3,198.75.
Really? Right there. Okay.
Gary Rich says no balls, no prize.
Yeah. Well, I think I screwed up with the spot in the 10-year.
Air Cages says derivatives trading involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. Ace Trade says I mean 97.75.
Oh, 97? I mean, the whole thing is I'm sitting here like, I don't want this to happen, right?
Ace Trade says my stop is now at 98.75.
Okay, well, that's okay, I suppose. The treasuries are kind of reacting to this kind of weird. Yeah, see, I think my read
Air
here
Cages says you gotta risk
wrong.
it for the biscuit.
I'm trying to reduce the amount of heat that I have to take. And
Ace Trade says never use money that is needed for household expenses or will affect your retirement horizon.
It's all play money. I mean, it's all money I can afford to lose, rather. They saw the absorption here in the E-mini, so I thought, okay, they're range here a little bit, but look, now they're pushing down on this side and they're not coming back above my price. It means that I got the entry wrong. And now there's this risk that like...
Air Cages says we don't care about money. We're freaks.
Now you got this thing where they might stop us out. So
Gary Rich says roll the kids' future college funds. It's the degenerate gambler's way, baby.
The future college funds. Somebody's fading that. Do you see how they're trying to lift the bid?
Trader says this is what I was saying to you yesterday, Seth. You're short bottom of range for a breakout. This usually seems to catch you out.
Yeah.
Ace Trade says I'm getting a short signal at 3,199.00.
Okay. Well, we'll take that off.
Air Cages says who cares?
He said 99 point, even, but they didn't really bust through that, did they? Well, see, on that one, I didn't feel like I completely FOMO'd into it, but I don't know. Like, it hasn't proven me wrong yet. It's just I got the wrong spot in the range.
Ace Trades says no, they didn't hit it.
Right.
Ace Trades says my stop is just below that. Gary Rich says my indicators keep looking like a cobra, time to short, hiss. Air Cages says you should always long or short on the third attempt if you're going for the break, otherwise you'll get chopped.
See, it's that chop. It's like you get forced out, and then I could buy it here, and they would come back down. And if I don't buy it, then they're just gonna go. I need something more to tell me the spot.
RFO Trader says yes, I think you need a rule. Short R plays from top of range or no trade VV for longs.
And I mean, I like to see I prefer continuations. I think I'm way better at playing continuations, but probability wise, I'm not so sure that I'm good enough at knowing which one is which. So again, they're trying to lift the bid and failing. Now they eat into that. Sold a few. Okay.
Ace Trade says long at 3,199.50 Seth.
Really?
Gary Rich says I'm taking donations to impeach Nancy Pelosi, I trade for her Botox injections. Air Cages says third attempt always. You can backtest this.
I
you
like
always
you
go for the
said
first or second and you get screwed in ranges.
I like that because I was saying, okay, it looks like the buyers are actually holding this area now. But we'll see what it does. And it's been 10 minutes now, so like we're in a little bit better of a position, right? Third attempt always. You know, one of the questions I've always, something that we should investigate rather, is at what point do you say that a range has been established? Because I can see things in order flow sometimes that makes me try and predict where the range is going to be. And then you see it bounce once and you say that's the range, but then it doesn't end up being that. Ow, 03,
Uzi Knesset says Pelosi will delay impeachment until Dems are guaranteed a fair trial in the Senate. Uzi Knesset says that
now?
Right there is a nice save, lol.
I think that's just the same story from last night. So I read that before I went to bed. I remember going to bed and laughing
Gary
about
Rich
it.
Says your tick display charts are the ranges you can trade.
Yeah. You mean these? Well, like this one is clearly there's a range right there at 28, right? But between in the ZB, for instance, between 28 and 25. But I'm just saying, so when it touches 25 and comes back out the first time, is that when you say it's a range? Okay. So that's 1, 2, 3, and then you can take it. Or no, that's the range is established. 1, 2, 3, and then you can take it. You know, that's where I'm not sure.
Gary Rich says those charts I could scalp that stuff. Air Cages says range breaks after 3 attempts 70% of the time.
On which instrument? Where did you backtest that? Because I know in the tenure that I've seen ranges
says,
hold more
hello,
than 3.
Ace Trades, how goes your day? Will everyone please take a second and hit like?
Thank you. Thank you. We're doing pretty good today. We got a good number of people watching. Go ahead and hit that like button. Hey, if this,
Gary Rich says draw high-low lines for those ranges, place orders above and below and wait.
I'll tell you what, we'll make a deal. If this one goes to my target, then you hit like. All right. If it goes to the target, then you all hit like. And if it doesn't, then
Ace
you're off the
Trade
hook.
says 75% of the time, it works at least 50%.
In the 10-year, you will absolutely see something sit in a range for 11 ticks. For 11 times. That means that it tests it 5 times. It tests both sides of the range 5 times. And that happens almost every day in the 10-year. Maybe every other day. They'll definitely hold a range more than 3. Now the E-mini, I don't know. But I suppose we could backtest that. But that's just where the question that I come back to is, how do I programmatically say that a range has been established? At what point do I say a range has been established? That over the past 5 minutes, it hasn't broken outside of that range,
Gary
or
Rich
that there's
says
an inside bar?
50% of the time, 25% of the time many are confused and forget to put them on.
We do have an inside
Air Cages
bar.
says if it doesn't break after 3, you don't trade it. Simple. RFO Trader says an avenue rotation ZN is 3 to 4 ticks.
Yes. RFO knows the stats. How did you figure that out, RFO? Because I don't think that I've ever talked about that since you've been watching.
Ace Trade
so
says
how did you know
anyone
that
else have
stat?
a line drawn at 3,201.50?
Yep. Well, not at 5. I have it. My line is at 3201. If they break out of 3201, then we could see a little bit of excitement, I guess. That's a big iceberg at 03. Okay. Well, look, it kind of looks like buyers are trying to start something here again, but they're not. It's not like the seller is fighting them. It's just they're not getting anybody to move.
Gary Rich says maybe I'll give Seth a Xmas present. My border collie can read red and green light signal trades. She has her CMT certification. RFO Trader says usually after the 7-11 tick move you get the 3 to 4 tick rotations.
Yeah. They always said I put up a 1 tick chart and go through it. Yeah, average decent move is 7 to 11 ticks. You're right. So the way that I did it was I just analyzed the average range of a 30-minute bar. And it turns out that by far the most common range for a 30-minute bar is 4 to 5 ticks. And then there's a drop off at 5. And then there's a drop off at 15 and a drop off at 24. So that kind of tells you where to put your profits at. And it just kind of, the math just kind of all works out when you look at like what people look for and stuff like that. But it's interesting. It's interesting how much more common that 4 tick move is than anything else, though. That's the thing that I find interesting. Is like, really, if you're catching 4, you've caught the range. You may have just been lucky and caught noise.
Ace Trade says at Gary Rich, I heard the SEC was handing down indictments to your dog and 13 others in what is becoming known as the Doghouse Insider Trading Scandal.
That was some good writing right there, man. Why not do ATR for 1 minute bars?
Gary Rich says suggestion: why no do ATR for 1 minute bars or candles and trade off that?
Because if you do that in ZN, you'll just get 1 tick. If that. You could do that in the E-mini though. When you do it in the E-mini...
Trader says, I think the 30 minutes bar isn't giving you an accurate representation.
Well, so you can do it
Gary Rich
off
says
of,
do 5 minutes.
I've also done it off of harmonic rotations, but it tells you the same thing. So I just kind of... It's easier to do it off of 30-minute bars. Like the advantage of doing it off of 30-minute bars is then you can go and you can say, oh, well, so what is it for 5 minutes?
Gary Rich says, I think the same, right? RFO.
What is it for a day? And so the indicator itself becomes more flexible in that respect than if you just do harmonic rotations. But I haven't seen an instrument where they came out differently. And that tells you something else, right? Which is that time really does matter. That different groups of people will come in and trade every 30 minutes. So, pretty interesting. So when I did it in the E-mini, I think it was 12 ticks, if I recall correctly. Now the 10-year is trying to shove it down there. Maybe because they see the E-mini kind of getting towards the high and maybe gearing up to bust out the shorts. I'll have to see if there's enough shorts out there to really make this do something fun. And by the way, when I say harmonic rotations...
Mom says time, speculator Seth, and the bartender says, we don't serve time travelers in here. A time traveler walks into a bar. Gary Rich says, if you traded all day, the 30 minutes analysis makes sense. Since you are limited for trading times, you need more speed or better ranges. Maybe just do a mini only. Tons of range.
So when I say harmonic rotations, I mean like my little swing indicator on this chart. I said, what does this number, when I analyzed that. That's how I determined what the swings were. When I analyzed it that way. I don't know if I have that one. I think I lost that one. We could recode it really quickly if we wanted to, though. They came really close, but they didn't hit into the spot where the key spot. There was an inside bar here though that they broke at 32.50. 3,250. I don't know. It really looks to me likely that the E-mini is going to break the top end of this range. But it seems kind of slow now, doesn't it? Okay, well, the 10-year finally... Are they going to finally clear too? No. There's people fighting back on it. Yeah. This game right here at 025 is always really frustrating to me.
Ace Trade says so choppy.
Yeah. It's kind of a different kind of chop too, isn't it, Ace? It's kind of like they'll try and clear price and it doesn't do anything, and then they'll sit there for a little bit and then they'll try it again. Whereas it normally in the E-mini choppy is like, They're not really doing that. It's slow. So that tells us something, doesn't it? Probably there's not as many people active in the markets today as we had hoped. They probably all took that Philly Fed news and traded that, and probably a lot of participants left. There's not anything else
Gary
today,
Rich
right?
says at Ace, yes, my border collie is wanted by the SEC. She might have to on that long Epstein car drive. I'm not going down for Nigerian love letter business.
Oh, there
Ace
is
Trade
existing
says
home
yeah,
sales
keep
at the top
expecting
of
it
the
to
hour.
take a turn one way or the other.
There's existing home sales at the top of the hour.
Winstanza Mom says Q, what was Beethoven's favorite fruit? B.A. na na na. Who knew that the opening strands of Beethoven's Fifth Symphony were an homage to his favorite fruit?
Oh, jeez.
Ace Trade says at Gary Rich your border collie is the Bernie Madoff of the canines.
Two half goes offer again. That might be a little bit better of an offer there, but there's still kind of like, we're never going to do it. We're never going to do it. We're never going to do it, but maybe we will. But if we do, you'll never know when and you won't be able to catch it. You know, 750 in the 10-year at 0.2 half. That's a little better.
RFO Trader says Seth just dropped a screenshot of ZN rotations for you in lobby.
Okay.
Winstanza Mom says sexy robot voice did not read that correctly. Try again, please. Nobody's home. Ba
Yeah.
na na na.
Yeah, but what I'm saying, RFO, is that I took a chart like that.
Gary Rich says at Ace she gonna do tennis ball SpaceX. Elon is her hero.
And I counted every swing and I put them into a distribution histogram so that you know how common is each range.
Ace Trade says be back in a bit. Locked in 2 points for all my trouble.
And it's not just that like that tends to be a 4-tick swing. Like those 4-tick swings are extremely more common. Significantly more common than anything else. Like if you catch an 8-tick move, for instance, like you had a good strategy that really did see something.
Winstanza Mom says nice.
Because the chances of you catching one of those at random is not very good. Okay, they're gonna do it this time. It looks better in the 10-year. I mean, the bid is a little better at least.
Winstanza Mom says McConnell is speaking now.
Ooh. Doubt he says anything interesting. Well, maybe he says something dumb. We'll see. We'll see. It'll pop up on Twitter here.
Ace Trade says all that money and Mitch can't buy a chin?
I always thought the claim that he looks like a turtle was funny because he really does. that was my first thought when I saw him. And the way he talks, he's not the greatest orator. It's really kind of funny how he ended up being the number one over there. But he's ruthless. He's ruthless. This whole thing that like Nancy is like, I'm going to do this and I'm going to force Mitch McConnell to cave. No way. You kidding me? He win that one every time, guys. You know it. I know it. Everybody knows it. It's Mitch.
Uzi Knesset says Mitch is like Palpatine lol.
I am the Senate.
RFO Trader says no, my point is wait for the large move, then you have bread and butter 3 to 4 tick scalps at the top if the move was long, or bottom if the move was short.
Okay.
Gary Rich says which one of those two senators are married to the Chinese woman? That's sketchy influence. Harlequin says I think Mitch and Ben Carson should make an audiobook, would solve sleeping problems worldwide.
So do you do it as in like, okay, that was an 8 to 16 tick move.
Says Mitch is married to Elaine Chow.
And then the second that I get anything that indicates that there's a pivot there, then I take it short, and that's how you do it. And how often do you have it continue on you? Because something that happens to me is I'll try fading those things, and they'll just run over me like 3 or 4 times. Like I'll get up there, I'll see the absorption, I'll take it short, and they run over it.
Too many questions. Just trade it and get that bread, buddy. Gary Rich says Seth, I go for 10 PTS
I want to
minimum
know how
on
he
YM
trades
nothing
it.
less ever. Winstanza Mom says and her family and Ivanka have branded patents on tons of products including voting machines.
Maybe it's going to do it.
Winstanza Mom says they basically use the name on machines.
I think that any chance you get to talk to another trader, the more you can understand about the way that they trade, the better. Because that gives you insight into how different types of players think. So I think that his strategy is interesting.
RFO Trader says no, wait for the move, then trade the small range that forms.
Sure. I guess it would be like, at what point do you know that the range is formed? Okay, here they pulled for that news. Interesting. Okay. So there was a little bit of trading off of it, but nothing happened. I don't know. The number was 5.35 versus 5.44. Well, I don't know if that makes much of a difference to anything.
Uzi Knesset says you can see it on your Vista charts. Liquidity will brighten up around the price on either side. RFO Trader says you see it on the DOM. Gary Rich says Seth, if you ever do a call on Discord, I'll explain my thesis, setups and ranges I draw and watch the order flow to verify liquidity is backing my trades.
Okay. Wait, so that's an interesting claim that you just made there because I've never noticed that before. So can we see it on this one? I need to move over a little bit. Come on. Show it to me. Okay, so here it was. So you're saying here it moved up. There was liquidity on the bottom side and on the top side. And you're saying then this kind of lined up, it disappeared, and then at that point you know that it's within the range? Would that be a correct analysis of this move today? They ticked up there, by the way. There was a big iceberg down in there. 5K. Oh, that's it right there. 5K on the offer, and then they taken against them again. They seem awfully determined to hold this range here, don't they? It's interesting.
Uzi Knesset says orders that have been sitting for longer act as better barriers.
Okay. Well, so you're saying like there will be an order like way up here and we'll go up to that order, maybe go through it and then range.
Gary Rich says within the range or breaks out of a tighter one, inside of range, like when you have an inside or outside candle breakout.
Sure. The issue I have with that one, I think that would work most of the time, but then on the trend day, they'll just keep going, right? So that would work really well, except for on a trend day, yeah. well, of course, that strategy would work really well except for on a trend day anyways, right? Because it's basically a fading strategy.
Uzi Knesset says the stuff that pops in and out has the tendency to have those prices tested.
Yeah. I've been noticing that on the edges, we'll get icebergs and large orders. And it seems kind of on whether they're on the offer or the bid with the action against the action, it actually seems kind of random to me. And the result seems kind of random to me. But those areas do end up being the edges. So it's like there's something there, but I don't see any kind of a probability that would give me a trade in those spots. And like this area at 025 is a perfect example, right? It is absolutely without question a spot.
Uzi Knesset
But are
says
they
you
ever
can
going to
see a
break
big
it?
order pop in at a price then pop out and the price will venture there to see if that passive buyer or seller can be baited into becoming aggressive.
Now, to the other thing that you guys said, we should do a call on Discord sometime. I don't know if doing it here at the end of the year is the best thing, but I was thinking we could do something like on a Sunday night or something. Well, now the 025 went offer again, and given all of the noise up here above it, I would think that they'd be really trying to squeeze them lower now. But the E-mini is still in its range.
Uzi Knesset says honestly, in terms of randomness, every opportunity is a gamble but at Gary Rich approach with having liquidity back your trade is sound advice. Gary Rich says if it has a continuing of a minor trend I add contracts and ride that bull or bear.
Well, the thing that makes me pause about it is that I'm always looking at such a small thing. It's like, okay, here's an order stacked here. Should that be an entry long or short or something like that? But what you guys are talking about is a little bit of a longer time frame, right? It's like we moved up. At what point does liquidity start to change and do stuff?
Uzi Knesset says but there's legitimately no way to know if that liquidity will stay or if someone will pop in and consume it all.
Yeah. Well, this spot here at 025 is being really fickle. Like I don't really know if it's gonna go through it. I just took it because that was the inside bar break. But should have been 03, of course. But it's almost like I took it. They know that I'm in, and so they're fiddling with me. And it sure feels like that a lot lately, man. Like no matter what I do, they fight me. Like if I'm going short and it really is in the end it's short, they're gonna wait.
Uzi Knesset says all you can do is use those levels to determine stop placement under the assumption that there won't be enough consumption to break it.
Yeah. Well, let's just watch that for a little bit and let's see if I can identify these spots that you guys are talking about. Like the question is, at what point can we identify that there's a range? So we'll play that game and we'll say, okay, I think that the range is here now. And how early can we identify that and how often are we right? At the moment in the treasuries, it's starting to look like that this range has become so established that people are starting to lean on 2.5. Like they're just taking 2 here, 2 ticks here. Okay, the E-mini seemed to react to that uptick there for some reason.
Gary Rich says as long as the order stays or slowly goes away, it's a possibly fake or spoof. I see reduction of orders on percent terms and adjust my trades to take. I don't care what just went off, I'm looking further DN. Uzi Knesset says that's how I use the delta, measuring consumption. A down delta means more sell side consumption, then look at price, is it going down or up? If it's raging down you can risk a market entry. Uzi Knesset says if price is going up, you'd want to look for a limit entry. Gary Rich says at Uzi yes.
Right, because that indicates that the offers are absorbing, and so you would want to be part of that and help them hold it rather than take a market order, because you're likely to get filled in that instance. That makes perfect sense to me. I mean, I do that too. Or I try to. Sometimes I'm wrong. Sometimes cumulative delta is just really hard to read and predict, isn't it? Okay, so they seemed like a little bit more interested there in the E-mini moving up, but there was a slight stumble there.
Gary Rich says if I see orders reducing or adding at different price levels I adjust my entries long or short.
Like the problem I have with reading...
Uzi Knesset says on a day like today though, I got nothing, everything is boring and flat lol.
Yeah, like the thing where I have a hard time is like, when we're having a trend day, I totally get what you're saying, right? They will go into a spot and then you will see another big order show up further down and they'll go to that one and they'll just do that all day. And it's like, oh, they go towards the big orders and it totally works. And so then you say, okay, that's the way I want to trade. And I start doing that. I think I'm taking the trade that is going to go for the big order, and then you lose every time. It's like, it's a really good read in particular situations, but those situations are few and far between. And instead, the action that I find is the most common is what's going on at 02.5 right here. There's a spot that's supposed to break, so you sell into it, and then it doesn't, and they range around forever, and maybe they break it for you, and maybe they don't, and it seems random to me whether they do. And it's always like where I'm looking at it. Like if I was to stop, if I had said, well, okay, I do see that there's that spot at 03, but I don't want to necessarily take this one because I'm not sure if they've been fiddling around with those spots, and I don't know. And the one that I don't take is going to be the one where they run.
Harlequin says, and if I get something on a day like that, I don't try to be greedy, just get what the volatility gives me. Usually I go for 15 to 25 ticks in crude, and today I just took 10, which was 40% of the daily. Harlequin says range lol. RFO Trader says people complicate trading with way too much info.
Well,
Uzi Knesset says you gotta consider the consumption. In ZP, for example, there's a big guy at 55.13 and at 56.05. I'm looking at the day like these two assholes are negotiating lol.
Well, I complicate it because for me, it's like, okay, here was an edge that I saw and I tried playing with it, and there actually does appear to be a statistical
Gary
edge,
Rich
but
says
it's
once
not
I'm in, I
strong
keep an
enough
eye
for me
on
to
those
take.
levels of the bid, ask to see if a big order pops in and holds all the way to execution. Right now it's very tight on the range, so I'm cautious, going for big moves.
Yeah. It's like you'll maybe there's a 60% chance that it can do it, but is the average MFE against it and everything like that actually in line with your own risk? And the answer in the 10-year Treasury is usually going to be no, because it's just too efficient. But it's just so interesting. One of the things that I've been looking to do is to take the breaks of inside bars. And yesterday I ignored them, and they ran, and they were really great trades. And so today I take one, and the instant that I take it, it starts fighting me, almost as if there is somebody else trading against it. like specifically watching and trading against it. And I can't imagine why anybody would do that. They would have that much size, but I just can't shake that feeling.
I know my weaknesses. I'm very disciplined about not to take a trade of a tight range.
You know what I mean? It's like the logical mind knows that wouldn't make much sense, but it's starting to become like almost undeniable.
Harlequin says, "No, I would say it is because of this time of the year."
Yeah, that might be true. You know, you're probably right.
Uzi Knesset says at RFO Trader, I dunno if I'd call it complicating. I think of it like trying to read the story the Dom is telling.
Yeah. Well, because at the very least, then you can sit down and you can say, hey, here was a setup, and this is the trade that you take, and in that particular instance, it worked or it didn't work. I mean, to me,
Harlequin says usually if I research something, I try to skip this time of the year until 2nd of January. You won't get great results.
Yeah, I tend to do okay at the beginning of December. I did terrible this time around. I was like, as soon as I was doing awesome in November, right? And then as soon as December came around, it was like the exact opposite. I think I was just taking too many longs. It's really the long end is really, to explain it. It's just, I was going for longs and I should have been going for shorts. And if I had gone for shorts, then I would be like, we'd be sitting here and be talking about how great of a genius I am. Oh, tomorrow's option expiry. Why is it taking so long to read things out?
RFO Trader says Uzi, I use a DOM, VP chart, that's about it. Ekareo says question about creating your own indicator for NinjaTrader. What is the difference in creating an indie with C# and NinjaScript?
They're the same thing. All NinjaScript indicators are written in C#.
Uzi Knesset says at the end of the day, you can look at a simple price chart and determine direction, but you gotta have your finger on he pulls of the story for entries.
Monday, I'm expecting a slight sell, but ready for any news to float this up, ready for all.
Uzi Knesset says at RFO Trader, same here. Harlequin says I had hopes up that the last week before Christmas would be awesome like last year, but well.
I need to fix my interface because it seems like there's a problem where after a while, when you guys have talked, for 90 minutes, that it starts to bog down for some reason. Maybe there's an issue with the memory management in the queue that I'm using or something. Yes.
Ekareo says so declaring variables in C# is the same as NinjaScripts.
Yes. NinjaScript is not a thing. NinjaScript is basically the API for NinjaTrader. It's not a language. Does that make sense? NinjaScript is an API, not a language. You write all code for NinjaTrader is done in C#. And NinjaScript is just the methods that you have available to you. Programming hurts my meat brain. All right, well, I'm not quite sure what to do here now. It's starting to come up on time for me to go.
Gary Rich says I was going to post a chart of Fed balance sheet and S&P climbing together with a 1-week lag. Amazing to see.
Yeah. Well, that's always been a pretty strong correlation, hasn't it? The funny thing is that I'm not even sure if it's Fed buying on the balance sheet that necessarily causes it, as much as everybody in the market knowing that the Fed is doing it and buying the markets because of that. Because whenever that happens, there's plenty of people that say, "Oh, that's really bad and bearish," and they try fading it and get
says really surprised at how boring the morning wound up. Everything's gonna explode after lunch. Watch lol.
Yeah, well, there is a very clear range set up here that's gonna have to break at some point. I really do not think that the longs can keep it up here. Look at that break right there at 025. That was a strong click. Are these bids gonna pull? I mean, that's the best offer that they've done so far. Okay, they did pull. It's not.
Gary Rich says the Fed give it,
reason.
the S&P love it. Cheap money equals money and profits for the companies. Fed is your friend. Ekareo says why are the indices so boring lately? Harlequin says okay guys, in 12 minutes we get the by far most important news of the day. Natural gas storage. Please fasten your seatbelt. Uzi Knesset says if things keep going the way they have been all week, that big bro at 5513 in ZB is gonna get plowed.
Yeah. Okay, so curious. The 10-year is starting to look the most likely to break the bottom of the range that it has so far since the range has developed. And at the same time, the E-mini is selling. I'm thinking back on it and like when we were on the open and everything, I should have FOMO'd into that and taken 10 and then, stopped right there. It feels to me like it's been so long and now the sellers are trying to make a push because the
Gary
buyers
Rich says I have a lot of methane ready to release. Massive backup. Breaking news. Gotta watch my bean consumption.
This is like the buyers didn't do anything with the time that they had, so now the sellers are pushing it. A little bit of a rally now here again. That O2 half still looking like, man. I don't think I have ever seen one particular price look so... Okay, why are they pulling? Donald Trump tweeted something again. Are you kidding me? So they are now pulling liquidity every time that Donald Trump retweets something? I can't believe that they all pulled there. Oh, U.S. Treasury Secretary Mnuchin says China will double purchases of agricultural goods from the U.S. under Phase 1 Trade Pact, CNBC interview. Mnuchin says signing of U.S.-China Trade Pact will be at the beginning of China. Oh, okay, so.
Uzi Knesset says if you had a bunch on the line stacking the ladder as a market maker, wouldn't you? Lol.
I don't know. It seems to me like Mnuchin is on TV and he's saying positive things, and yet they're trying to sell the E-mini here. I don't know. The pact will be signed in January. How is that not a buy?
Harlequin says can Congress please put a Twitter stop on the president? His number of tweets is getting ridiculous.
Man. So they came back up, maybe they go and they test O2 again, but I don't think that they really got all that many orders up here to really squeeze them out. But we'll see. What the hell?
Gary Rich says well the CRB index not buying that BS China buying ag crap.
They don't think that they're going to do it, huh? I mean, so that particular trade doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me.
Winstan's mom says, hang on, gentlemen, your president is tweeting and has been for a few minutes now.
So if you say, oh, China's not actually going to do the agricultural purchases, okay. So is another trade going to come out in 5 minutes?
IQ says breaking that 13 will be left for Friday or overnight.
Like trading that on that it's not going to happen on a short-term scalp doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Wouldn't happen. That would be something that would slowly get priced in as they don't do it, you know? Well, the liquidity is still light in the treasuries.
Harlequin says, I don't think there is much conviction to go for bigger longs right now. I mean, tomorrow is Friday and basically holidays after that. Would you really swing or go for big moves right now?
I don't know. I thought that I've been going off of the theory that this range is going to break. I think, though, that in the E-mini, that it did break and nothing happened. So now they should go and test the other side of it, right? But maybe not. Maybe they just sit here all day. Or maybe they say, okay, Seth, you were right. We're going to buy it. You were right. But we can't let you ever win. So we're just going to wait until after 8:30.
China buys 5 bill of hogs. Okay, that good. Their hog population has been reduced by 80% in some areas. Too bad we can't trade chickens on the futures market.
Yeah, I'm long chickens. Wait, are you saying that chickens are going to become more worth more? Can I sell my chickens and make a profit? That would be great. No, it wouldn't be great. I like the chickens. I want to keep them. Anyways, I get that. Yeah, it seems like the situation has turned into there's not much reason for them to move. But the thing that I don't understand is, okay, they pull the liquidity. Mulvaney is speaking, or sorry, not Mnuchin is speaking, and people are going all risk off. Like, you really think that he's going to get on there and try and say something bad? Like, why are they? Maybe they're just doing that to try and fool people.
Winstan's mom says, speculator Seth, do you have real chickens as in bok bok,
Yeah.
chickens who lay eggs? I just assumed you lived in a neighborhood.
Well, we do live in a neighborhood, but we're allowed to have chickens. You're allowed to have backyard chickens. Most cities, at least. He's fighting him at 99.25 again. They're like, nope, we don't want that price to go bid.
Gary Rich says you can check prices for chicken pieces at the Georgia Bureau. Every day it shows prices per leg, thigh, breast, etc.
Like, when we watched that, was my price entry random? And yet they care about that price so much. All of a sudden. It's funny. Okay, maybe the bids will hold it now. Well, maybe now you've got a bunch of longs. If they do decide to push it down on the 10-year, maybe they break the range now, but what a churn. Similarly, in the E-mini, if they get back up to that 3201,
Winstan's mom says if I had chickens in my backyard, the foxes would eat well and so would Juliet and Mika Ferret.
Oh.
I would grow too attached to chickens and want to invite them inside.
Nah, that when you get chicken, like, that would be the last thing you want, is to let that filthy bird in your house. They're not clean. They like to dig around in the dirt, and they are not clean animals. Why is it that most farm animals are really dirty? Like, cats are clean animals, right? But farm animals are dirty. Is there like an evolutionary reason for that? Hey, that was interesting. Why is this strong bid showing up at 32? Da-da-da. That's good, right?
Harlequin says natural gas storage in 1 minute. I don't think the markets can handle this kind of power. It's gonna be a massacre.
It's gonna be a massacre when natural gas storage happens? Not a piece of news that I've ever paid attention to. The trade pact is on paper and translated and not open to renegotiation. China will double purchases of agricultural goods from the U.S. under Phase 1 pact.
Give great hen parties winking face.
And anybody that is...
Winstan's mom says ferrets are very clean animals. They use their litter boxes, well, mostly.
Maybe I overestimated the number of people that were shorting the market because they were saying that they thought that the trade deal was nonsense or not going to happen.
Gary Rich says in the last 3 minutes a mini only in a 3 PT range.
Well, look, now it's above.
Ekareo says if you take a dump in a patio full of chickens they all come to the pile like flies and eat the whole thing. They are one of the dirtiest birds around.
So
Winstan's mom says lol.
This should be the move that I wanted, right? Yeah, they took a 1, they went 2 ticks there. Let's see.
Harlequin says, well, Seth, why are the markets so slow then? They are clearly waiting for this kind of news to start moving.
I don't know. But I was just, anyways, I thought that there was a lot of people trying to short it because they thought that the trade deal was not going to happen, fall apart. If anybody that would still be in that trade would have to be listening to Secretary Mnuchin right now and be going, well, I'm wrong. But it doesn't seem like we're seeing that happen. But we did buy a little bit there. There was that stack at 3,200 was good. They broke the top side of the range. Oh, well, I take that back. They got to go to 3201.50. So if they can bust 3201.50, but I suppose that would have been the first test of the range since it was established, right? And you were saying always do the third one and not the first or second.
RFO trader says interested in 3,200 long if of permits.
If OF permits. What is OF? Offer?
Winstan's mom says Ekareo, I have so many questions and may never eat chicken again. First question, how, what and why do you know that if you decide to eliminate in a patio, lol. IQ says my upside TGT 15601ZB.
Oh, the order.
Gary Rich says my dog licks her butt, that's not clean to me. I'm not kissing that mouth, lol. RFO trader says overflow.
Right. People that let their dogs lick their face. My kids let the dogs lick their face. It's so... Oh my gosh. Okay, so like my older dog, so I have 2 Yorkies and one of them's pretty old. And his breath smells, man. It's not like... he's just old. He doesn't have very many teeth. This doesn't smell very great. And he will lick the other dog's face like all day. That dog just sits and licks things all day. Like, I can't leave a blanket on the couch. The dog the blanket will get completely wet. Okay, it's ridiculous. It's so gross. And he will sit and lick Sadie, the other dog's face. And then Sadie's face smells like dog breath.
Winstan's mom says Gary Rich, that is not all the dog can lick, and are you jealous? Would you if you could? TMI, never mind.
Man. And then the kids let him lick them in the face.
Ekareo says, just an example, I used a patio because I don't the name for the place where you raise chickens.
Oh, I use patio. Yeah, no. You go into the hen house or whatever. It doesn't smell good.
Ekareo says I don't know.
It smells like chicken. And when you smell real chickens and then you smell chicken on the grill, it's not as great of a smell. Because it reminds you too much of those filthy animals.
Gary Rich says before kissing my girlfriend, I ask her where has that mouth been? I close my eyes and pray, lol.
Oh, I saw this really great TikTok the other day. I don't want to show you guys TikToks because that one video got banned in Sweden. And
Winstan's mom says teasing you Ekareo, just the visuals are so funny.
This guy, he was like, okay. His girlfriend's like, okay, I'm going to work. And he's like, okay, if a guy asks you out, what are you going to say? I have a boyfriend. Okay, if a guy gives you his number, what do you say? Thanks, I'll give it to my boyfriend. Then in the end, he's like, all right, go get him. It was hilarious. I don't know why before kissing my girlfriend, I asked where that mouth has been. I don't know why that reminded me of that, but our great Congressman Gohmert is a true patriot, fighting back against the people that must hate our country. Never heard of him before. Okay. I can't believe they didn't
mom
bust
says,
the
I'll
top
give it
of
to my
that.
boyfriend. Good answer.
I'll give it to my boyfriend, right? That was the funniest part. Thanks, I'll give it to my boyfriend. Oh, kills me. There was this other one that was like a video. I think you can find it on YouTube, but it was like how a computer works, and their computer and the mouse are talking, and the computer screen are talking to each other. And the computer's like, okay, the mouse is moving now. Screen, can you update and show the mouse moving around? And then they're like, uh-oh, no, he's pressing Control P. Yeah, okay. Printer, we need to print something. And the printer's like, no! Isn't that funny? You know what the funny thing about printers is all effing
Ekareo
HP's
says
fault.
they are dirty. Ekareo says, but it is true. Chickens will eat the dropping of every other animal.
I don't know what HP's problem is, but have you ever had an HP printer that printed the first time? You always have to like disconnect it, reconnect it into your computer, add new ink into it, and then maybe it might print. Ridiculous. And I think they do it on purpose, frankly. Like they want you to buy a new printer. That 3,200 bid, they're going to test it maybe? I think 1,000's still going to trade there if they sell into it.
Winstan's mom says I read somewhere that some old ladies who get a computer think their mouse is a treadle that turns on the computer, like a sewing matching treadle.
What? That's funny. Oh, you know what always used to drive me nuts? Was on the old Macs, the power button was on the keyboard. Like, what?
Winstan's mom says smashed mice is Michi? Mies.
They always put the power buttons in the weirdest spots on the Macs. Why can't you just put it on the front of the machine like a normal person? Always have to be different.
Winstan's mom says asterisk machine.
Oh, look, now they're going to go, huh? There was 2 down ticks there in quick succession on the 10-year. After stopping me
RFO
out.
trader says long 3,200.25.
Cool. You did get a good price, didn't you? Okay, well, look, they broke the top of it. They did the thing I wanted. Now, does that mean that they don't go any further? Mohammed El-Arain, my thoughts on why Sweden enough is enough on negative rates due to concerns about collateral damage and unintended consequences. Thank you. Negative rates are bad, okay? Okay. I don't understand how everybody in the United States can recognize that negative interest rates are bad, and and Europe is like totally okay with it. Anybody else find that kind of weird? I think that Europe just sees it as yes, but it helps GDP. And then you say yes, but at everybody else's expense.
Winstan's mom says I have not seen Wimmer Kevin lately.
Oh,
is he behind the
no,
scenes
no,
on
no.
another platform, not YouTube?
No, 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 no.
Gary Rich says Sweden doesn't matter, they only have 10 people for population.
Sorry, that's Harlequin. He changed his name. Harlequin is Kevin.
Ekareo says what you mean by negative interest rates.
I mean, like there are bonds out there that you can buy that you lose money from holding.
1920th ZB. Ekareo says you have to pay to have your money in the bank.
Yep, you have to pay to have your money in the bank in Europe. And that's what they're doing. And so all of the money came overseas or went out into the markets to buy things. And they say, well, that's good for GDP, but I don't know. I look at the United States and I look at the Europe and I'm like, which economy would I rather have right now? I think I'd rather have the United States', right? So but the Europeans thought to think that it's been massively successful. And every policymaker, like, all of the bank guys and everybody over here, like Jeffrey Gunlatch is a good example. Ask Jeffrey Gunlatch, do you think that we should do negative interest rates in the United States? And you can tell there's some passion in him about
Harlequin
that,
says, yep, I am the famous Wimmer Kevin, the one and only. The living legend, the biggest Garlicoin player the world has ever seen with an average long position of $1.50.
No, I have more than that, Harlequin. I think I have like $20 worth. Mind it all myself. I literally have $20 of garlic coin. You know what? There is a wallet in garlic coin that is literally like $1,000 worth of garlic coin. I think it's the exchange wallet though.
Winstan's mom says hello, Harlequin of the Wimmer, who is Kevin. I should have realized by your comments on garlic coin.
Okay, well, you know what? I need to really pee, but I think that it might still get up to my thing, so I'm gonna step away for a little bit, alright?
Harlequin says, nah Seth, I mean that's my average price after investing billions. Winstan's mom says, will everyone take a second and hit like? I know Seth is shy about asking and the numbers going up, do help his channel. Harlequin says I changed my name to match the one in Discord. Gary Rich says ROFL, who thumbed down his video. Winstan's mom says, Gary Rich, there is a good YouTuber in Sweden I watch, Eric Thor Jungian typology MBTI, that sort of thing. He is an intuitor like myself, lol. Winstan's mom says that helps too, lol. Winstanza Mom says, what is on your schedule of fun for this weekend? Will anyone be doing anything interesting?
Hey, we might get it. We might get it. I hope you guys are all still here, because you're gonna have to click that like button. I think that you're gonna have to click that like button, guys. What do you think? Let's see here. I know Seth is shy about asking, and the numbers going up do help this. It does. When we hit 15 likes, that really helped. We wouldn't have had the boost that we got last week if it wasn't for you guys doing that. So I appreciate it greatly. That's my average price after investing billions. Oh man. Who thumbed down the video? Hey, you know what? That's okay. If you thumb down the video, you are less likely to see it, but it still helps the video. There is a good YouTuber in Sweden I watch, Eric Thor Jungian Topology MTV. He is Intuitard. Intuitard, is that what they call it? What's your schedule of fun for this weekend? Will anyone be doing anything interesting? I haven't thought about the weekend, really. I've got stuff to do. I wonder when I think the kids come back and I'm going to have the kids all weekend. But I'm going to be doing a recording. I have 12 videos written up, guys. I have 12 videos. I don't think I'm going to make all 12 of them. I think I might get through half of that. But the week between Christmas and the New Year's, I'm not going to stream. I'm going to use that time to record those videos and work on those. So, yeah, it should be exciting.
IQ says, Seth, you got coding to do, lol.
Oh yes, and I'm gonna make a video for you, IQ. I liked your idea. So here was the thing, IQ, was I was planning on making 2 more videos for programming, and one of them was coding a strategy and how to backtest it. And what are the sort of problems that you run into with backtesting and stuff like that. And the strategy that you suggested is perfect for that sort of a thing. Because doing stuff based off of a specific time is something that you really want to be able to do in strategies. So yeah, so we'll do that. And the other one was just going to be like a basic NinjaTrader overview video.
Winstanza Mom says, yes, we are not the think fast, talk smart people. We need time to process information, pause autocorrect, but we see the big picture first and do not climb up a ladder of details. Different processes.
Interesting. I feel like that very often, and maybe this is just only when it seems bad. So like, here's a good example, and I'm actually surprised that nobody brought it up, but here in Utah, there's this big news story because there was a story in the Washington Post that from a whistleblower saying that the LDS Church has like $200 billion worth of assets in an account, and claims that they used some of it for non-charitable purposes, and that those were the only things that they've done with it, and therefore what they did was illegal. And I hear that and I'm like, well, probably that guy might not have the full picture. So let's just kind of wait and see what happens. And sure enough, a couple of hours later, the church was like, well, we comply with all federal laws, and the individual is not completely doesn't know everything. He's only able to see a small little part of things. I forget the wording that they used, but it was basically like he was only able to see a small part of things. And I wonder when I do that, I was like, okay, so am I just really good at knowing when a story is likely to be wrong and that you should wait it out? Or am I only doing that when it's something that, I would maybe not like if it ended up the story being better, if the story ended up being true or even worse than what's reported initially, you know what I mean? I think our thing died. I can see your new comments though. if you were to ask your family to hit like daily on their computers and subscribe to your channel, that will add to your daily numbers regardless of what the market is doing. Yeah, well, but you know what? We do it all about legitimate, like when you guys are watching and you like the video, you click like, and that helps. And if other people come, like the thing that helps the most is engagement on the post. So you like and comment on it. So if you watch it and then you comment on it, that does a big thing. The next thing is when you see one of my videos like on your feed and you click on it, that affects the click-through rate, and that really helps because that means that it will get shown to more people. And then when you watch the whole video, and that's basically like everything that YouTube looks at. So from my perspective, it's just I do the things that make the videos the best for that. So I make engaging videos that you want to watch the whole thing. I make it fun for you guys to engage. So I always try and put a comment or present a conversation so that when you guys come back later today, when you see it later today, you'll want to comment and read it. All that sort of stuff. Okay, so Harlequin, I'm interested about your top step video. What are you going to talk about? I actually recommend one of those to him to have a step between live and sim because even though it's sim, the results matter. Also, it was because of his market choice. He has commodities for natural gas, copper, and the agricultural ones. There's no micro version for him, for equities or like bond traders. So that's an interesting point that I hadn't really considered at Harlequin. Like from my perspective, if you want to trade, you should just trade the E-mini and trade micros. But if you have a real edge in a different market, something that you know about those instruments that makes you good at trading them, then yeah, you can totally go for it. I wouldn't take the combine unless I knew I was going to pass. Now, it sounds like your friend is doing really well, so maybe he is like that 1% of people where it really makes sense to do it. But for the vast majority of people, I just don't think it makes sense anymore. And I'm the thing is I like the top step trader guys, like especially their coaches are really great. Like honestly, Danny and all those guys, they are good. And talking to them will help you become a better trader, no question. And I kind of feel bad that like their business plan doesn't seem viable anymore. And I kind of think they should change it. And how exactly what would make the most sense for them is maybe, I don't know, because what I would do probably might not necessarily make sense for them. I would just hold on, I'm gonna go for it. I would, create more of a subscription-based plan that gives you lots of benefits and tracks your performance over time. And you don't have to have a ton of success. You just have to be, marginally profitable over a long period of time to get funded. And they would try and make more of the money off of being a broker. That's what I would suggest is to become more like a broker. But I don't know if that makes sense for them. Anyways. I missed water cooler conversation after I retired. Women do not talk water cooler the same way as men. I worked with. The View is a bit like that, but is far more pleasant with you gentlemen. Oh, thank you. The View. I'm just waiting for the next McCain, freak out. I feel bad about that whole thing because she seems like she's actually pretty nice, bright girl. But, part of it is that she's floating off of, the success of her father. But then the other part of it is that she just does not seem to be temperamentally fit for the role that she has, right? She is not the, sit in the face of criticism 24/7 person. That's not the McCains. They're kind of the more of the get everybody together and work with people and that sort of a thing, They bring people I am the person. I would be good at that. If I was a girl, that would be me. Because I'm the kind of person that can sit there and be told that I'm wrong and not flinch. And you can tell me that I'm wrong for forever. And until I will have a thing. I'll say, here's the thing that I would need to see to prove me wrong. And if I see that, then I'll admit it. But until I see that, I hold on to it. Probably to my own detriment sometimes with trades, right? But that's me, it's not her. And it's I kind of feel bad watching this thing continue to go on and on, because it doesn't seem good for her mental health, 3088 bought at 20 ZB. Who would want to bet against it? Can you believe though that they've both been going up? The Treasuries and the E-mini have both been going up on this move. Notice on the view, Whoopi gets wider year after year. Soon she will need the entire table. I've always been surprised at Whoopi Goldberg, because I thought that she would be the kind of the person that would be, because her character in Star Trek was always the insightful one, like, oh, things are not quite what they seem, and this. No, she is, though, usually the first one to go full on left and, get in people's face. It was not what I thought. I totally did not know what she was like. I'm not saying that that's bad, but man, it was just not her character, I should post my cryptocurrency notes, huh? I already generated the charts, so that'll make that easy. They're so close. So close to it. Go. Punch it. Oh, 4 in it. Come on, you can do better than that. Look, there's that 3204 up there. You know you want it. Doesn't it look so great? Look at the 1,851. Don't you want to be able to say that, E-mini? Hey, I made it up to a big order, 1,856 orders, and we ate through it. It was amazing. So cool. I wish you was all there. Don't you want to do that, E-mini? I know you want to. Don't take down. Man, you just can't sweet talk her, can you? She's like, no, Seth. I do it when I'm good and ready. We could probably take a quick one tick here, Seth. Oh, you mean in the ZN? For what it's worth, I don't look at any other market, so it makes no sense to me. I just follow along. Hey, thanks, thank you. I'm looking soon for a long in natural gas. Maybe I can get some ticks out of this. Made a nice push after the storage. I mean, it got slow, but there was still opportunity in this market today, wasn't there? I don't completely understand what the market's doing, though. Okay, let me write here. Today is Thursday, 26th. Okay. Well, guys, well, the Treasury took a significant downtick there. There was, you just had to play this stupid range. Yeah, the E-mini is like that nice lady, but when you wake up with the sheets tucked in and she has a baseball bat. What? Well, I might have to just take it right here. I don't know, guys. Maybe if my wife was up, I could have her watch it, but she probably wouldn't want to. I can just take 10, right? Oh, wait. That was a good sweep up. Running out of time. Let's do it. Well, there's 9 o'clock. I don't know, guys. What if I took it off at 10? Would you still give me likes? Oh, come on. 500 both sides tick up. Good. Ooh. Snaps into 02. I forgot Seth doesn't date crazy women. I'm telling you, my wife is like the most stable person. Well, she's pregnant right now, so that kind of doesn't help. But like possibly one of the most stable women on earth. It's a little bit too calm. I've learned so much today. First, that chickens tend to hang out on patios where people poo, and also that nice ladies sometimes are not pretty and that they have a bat under their sheets. Posted something in Discord. I was curious about the agreement he had to sign for one up. Maybe he will be in sim for 90 days and after that go live if he does not fail. Obviously. How is your wrist, buddy? Oh yeah, it's better. I mean, I can do that. It still kind of hurts now, but it's better. I lifted on it today. I just had to wrap it up. Man, not even getting to the 15. Okay. I really hate sitting and waiting for a trade like this at 9 o'clock. We're going down to Sandy that actually sometimes I think I'll be okay as long as traffic's not bad. Look at the E-mini. The treasuries continue to move up. I'm so surprised that they're able to do what they're doing. I mean, they're breaking the outside bar on the hourly at 05. So the one on the downside, 02 half, they held. Should have gotten rid of that one and should have taken 05. So then the question is, at what point does the E-mini start to not like that the treasuries are moving up like that? This move is a really weird in the 10-year. I think. So what were people saying on Twitter? Decent miss in Philly Fed, but can we maintain this buying after such a strong sell-off in the last 24 hours? I don't know. it could just be a washout, you know? Maybe it is just a washout. Seth and I will have to live vicariously through your experiences. He was Mormon and I was married very young, so tell us more. Come on. Oh, God, please. Are you fucking kidding me? Did you see that? Were you watching? Did you see that? I saw it. I was like, okay, I gotta go. I see it. It's having a hard time getting above that price there. So I take it off, and it literally, as soon as I put my order in, it sweeps up to the high. Can you believe that? How is that? That is, man, I've never quite had one like that before. Well, listen, I think that after the commissions, I come out break even today. How long was I in that? I was in that for 90 minutes. Almost 90 minutes. 1 hour 23. Wow. I didn't get my full 20. Makes me mad. I can't believe that happened. Was what I saw there that made me say, okay, maybe this is an okay place to take it? Was that like actually counter signal? I don't know. It was weird. It was almost like they were waiting for me to get out. Okay, now we can move up. He got stopped out. I don't know. But anyways, I hope you guys will still give me a like if you haven't. That was worth it. But I gotta go, so I will see you guys. Here's the oh no, wrong one. Here's all the Patreons. Thank you very much for the Patreons. If you haven't checked out the Patreon, do so. We'll post every day Bitcoin charts. Hit that like button, subscribe, and hit the bell icon. Hitting the bell icon makes it much easier to find us. I will see you guys tomorrow, Friday, right? Yeah, it's Friday. And I will be here on Monday and probably Tuesday too. So, but then after that, I won't stream again until the 2nd of January. Right? So, I'll say that was worth it. Thanks. So, I'll see you guys later. And in the meantime, stay profitable.